And we are back at the IBJJF Absolute No-Gi Grand Prix. We've had 2 matches in the Grand Prix so far. Coming up on our third, we're going to have Giancarlo Bodoni and Patrick Gaudio, Jake.
Oh, my goodness. 2 just very big, strong competitors, Danny. I mean, what more can be said about Giancarlo Bodoni and the career that he's had in no-gi, and Patrick Gaudio?
Yeah, what I love about Giancarlo, and we were talking to him about it yesterday at the press conference, he started his career on the IBJJF circuit, was competing in the gi. Then he decided to make a change and compete without the gi. Now he's back here at the Absolute No-Gi Grand Prix. One of the most technical no-gi competitors on the planet. Was really excited when he was announced to be part of this Grand Prix. And Patrick Gaudio, very accomplished competitor. I think also known for the most part for his gi accomplishments. Won the Europeans, won the Brasileiros in the gi. Lately he's been competing more no-gi, was very active in 2023. Felt like that activity and that consistency being on the competition mats really prepared him well for this Grand Prix.
And he's had great matches with some of our sport's most technical competitors. Is one of the few people to really have a very competitive match in the IBJJF mats with Gordon Ryan. Very excited to see how he does in the Grand Prix here today.
And now for the next quarterfinal match, representing New Wave Jiu-Jitsu, Giancarlo Bodoni.
New Wave Jiu-Jitsu's Giancarlo Bodoni takes to the mats. 28 years of age, relocated to Austin, Texas back in 2021. Training with some absolutely incredible competitors at New Wave.
And representing GFT, Patrick Gaudio.
And he is taking on Patrick Gaudio. Very active, as we mentioned, on the scene in 2023. 30 years of age, representing GF team. Looks to be in absolutely spectacular shape for this Absolute No-Gi Grand Prix. This is going to be a fun match.
In the corner of Giancarlo Bodoni, of course, John Danaher of New Wave Jiu-Jitsu.
Giancarlo and Patrick, no strangers to one another. Giancarlo actually went to GF team in Brazil in 2017 when he was a purple belt. Trained quite a bit with Patrick in the gi. But that was well over 6 years ago. So 2 very different athletes.
You notice Giancarlo immediately tugging over and over on the head. That's something a lot of the New Wave competitors do. It's just that jackhammer style of snapping the head. It makes it, it's very tiring on the neck to deal with that kind of thing, and it really does weigh on an opponent.
Giancarlo has some really amazing takedowns. Uses this collar tie, like you said, to hang on the neck, destabilize his opponents. Does a great job with his underhooks. Has amazing single legs, foot sweeps. Very fun to watch Giancarlo go through his attacks and his takedowns on the feet.
Getting a little physical out there.
Nice.
Going
throw
one hook in.
Giancarlo right onto the back.
Immediately trying to climb up on the back here.
Use that underhook to nearly get to the back of Patrick Gaudio. Good counter by Gaudio.
Referee called a stop to the action before that position had ensued, so gonna reset back, possibly neutral.
Giancarlo's so good with the underhook. Shucks that arm by, nearly gets to the back of Patrick Gaudio. Now right back onto that collar tie that you talked about earlier, Jake.
Yeah, look for him to do that in most of his matches. It's a great way of gauging your opponent's balance as well, seeing how they react to different stimulus so you can set up a quality takedown.
Giancarlo leading by 1 advantage.
Heady collar tie by Patrick Gaudio there.
It's like Patrick was awarded an advantage as well. Going to be tied up at 1 advantage apiece. Some good work from the feet from both Patrick and Giancarlo.
It's no secret that the new wave competitors have a lot of success in the no-gi scene. And one of the things that sets them apart, at least in my mind, is the emphasis on solid wrestling fundamentals. And we're seeing it here. Giancarlo Bodoni is very comfortable out there.
It's the solid wrestling and takedown fundamentals. And I feel like all the new wave competitors are so well-rounded. They can play the leg lock game. They can pass the guard.
Right into the single leg.
Great single leg setup by Giancarlo.
He's going to look for the back again. But good response by Patrick Gaudio that time. Gets that left hit back. Notice Giancarlo is really looking for this shallow right underhook as well. That's how he's nearly taken the back that time. And it's how he took the back last time. Once again, looking for that single leg.
Tried to connect his hands. Now goes for that foot sweep.
Looking for the knee tap. Just a game of inches. There you see the coach of New Wave, the inimitable John Danaher.
Professor Danaher Nicholas Marigali here in support of Giancarlo Bodoni. Giancarlo using those heavy collar ties, trying to break the posture and get a reaction out of Gaudio. Patrick showing some really good takedown defense. Some great work on his feet as well.
One advantage apiece, all tied up here as we near the midway point.
Giancarlo back on that single leg.
Once again, a good recovery by Patrick Gaudio, but Giancarlo still with the shallow right underhook. One thing he's been doing really well, Danny, is he's going from the single leg immediately to that shallow underhook to look to take that back control. You can tell that's an attack that he favors. Oh, look at that throw by. Mixing it up on the feet.
Got a lot of different takedowns in his arsenal. It's really impressive to see him combine them, chain them together, mix them up. Now he's back to the underhook.
We've seen a lot of very creative aggression out of Giancarlo Bodoni for the 5 minutes and 30 seconds that these two have shared the mats, but gotta wonder as the time winds down how Patrick Gaudio is gonna open up.
It's gonna be interesting to see if they decide to keep it on the feet and keep with this strategy, or if they try to mix it up. Maybe one athlete could potentially pull guard. Giancarlo now with double underhooks, trying to pull Patrick back into the center of the mat. Patrick does a good job clearing one of the underhooks, keeping his hips back, trying to defend that shuck by to the back that Giancarlo executed.
Kept that S grip.
Match.
Oh, Giancarlo Bodoni given a penalty for speaking to the referee. It's one of those rules. And that changes the dynamic of this match a lot. Oh, Patrick Gaudio trying to hit him with the spin cycle takedown.
3 minutes and 30 seconds left. One advantage apiece. Giancarlo has the penalty. Patrick Gaudio currently leading. Giancarlo sits to his guard. Using the butterfly hooks, trying to elevate Patrick.
Into the closed guard. Yeah, Giancarlo perhaps sensing that he needed to maneuver into a position where he could score perhaps in a more concrete way. Or even just go for a submission. You see him looking for the triangle here over the top.
Good control of the wrist. Giancarlo going for the triangle. Great setup. Patrick looks like he's going to slip his head out. Giancarlo in on the single. Gets to the back.
Similar situation as last time. He needs to retain top position here, though. Advantage for Giancarlo Bodoni. Regains the lead.
Very nice sequence there, Jake. Almost locked up the triangle. Patrick postures out. Giancarlo nearly gets on top. Gets the advantage. Has the lead here now. 2 minutes and 26 seconds left in this quarterfinal match, the IBJJF Absolute No-Gi Grand Prix.
Patrick trying to get a little bit tighter on top.
Giancarlo playing reverse De La Hiva now. Patrick trying to drive his left knee forward. Giancarlo 2-on-1 on that far arm. Now he's behind Gaudio, tries to get to the back.
Oh, loses the position though. That's going to be another advantage for Giancarlo Bodoni.
Beautiful back take setup. Patrick did a great job defending it. But Giancarlo now up by 3 advantages. He has 4. Patrick has 1.
Yeah, a much more comfortable lead for Giancarlo Bodoni. What was really not that comfortable of a lead before, right? Still, if the score were to get tied up by Patrick Gaudio, that would have been 1 penalty for Giancarlo, but now a lot more room.
Giancarlo been so close on some of his attacks today. Nearly got the back a few times, almost got a triangle. Had some near takedowns. Patrick doing a great job avoiding some of these point-scoring maneuvers. But very impressed with Giancarlo's skill set. Extremely well-rounded.
Yeah, this is a great spot to be with 1 minute left in the match. Closed guard. In order for Patrick to get out, he's going to have to expose himself a little bit. Definitely a much different position to get out of in no-gi than in gi.
Gaudio stands up. Giancarlo underhooks the leg.
And that's what I mean. In standing up, you have to present a little bit of an opening and be ready to engage your opponent in defense.
Really nice use of the frames by Giancarlo as Patrick tries to put the pressure down. Giancarlo is able to recover, create some distance, avoid any danger.
Now Giancarlo gets that false reap set up right there at the very end. Beautiful stuff. Very technical match between these two. Great display of solid wrestling fundamentals out of Giancarlo Bodoni as he punches his ticket to the semifinal here at the 2024 IBJJF No-Gi Absolute Grand Prix.
Giancarlo Bodoni representing New Wave.
Giancarlo Bodoni advances to the semifinals of the IBJJF Absolute No-Gi Grand Prix. He's going to take on the winner of our next match, Roosevelt Souza and Pedro Rocha. That one's going to be coming up next. We got a replay coming up. Take a look at some of this action from Giancarlo Bodoni and Patrick Gaudio.
Well, there he is, Patrick Gaudio versus Giancarlo Bodoni. Great match, and this was really, most of the match was played on the feet. Giancarlo looking for different opportunities. Right here was a very close back take at the beginning of the match. And you see Patrick inbounds, turns, looks to put his hips on the mat. And this is another situation where Patrick Gaudio had to turtle up to avoid the 2 points. Giancarlo would get 2 advantages for that situation earlier. And Patrick did a great job of preventing the concrete points from happening to him, but Giancarlo Bodoni stayed very active and was able to net the victory.